6:15. Welcome to the Blessed to Teach show. This is Rick, your host, here on Friday, December 27th. Almost New Year's. I hope you guys had an awesome Christmas and getting ready for just a wonderful 2020. Boy, was 2019 awesome. I thought 2018 was awesome, but 2019, woo! And I think 2020 is going to be even better. Quite exciting. I'm talking about Trump versus the Colt 93. This is SB Decode Part 2. We have to finish up Part 1 and get through Part 2. So it's gonna be tough to get through it all because there's new Q as well. So this is gonna be a very busy episode as we try to get through as much as we can in an hour. And I might try to sneak in 2 tomorrow. We'll see how things go to get through all 4 parts. This is a 4-part series. It took me till after 2 a.m. last night to get through all of them. So I went through Part 1 with you guys, studied it beforehand. Then I studied Part 2, Part 3, Part 4. I texted as well as, commented and emailed SB2 for clarification on a few things. I got some of that clarification. So, but you won't get that until the finale on Part 4. So we'll try to get that by tomorrow night. Popcorn poppin', says Colbate. Cobalt Blue. Awesome. I see Caffeine Addict is on here. Stephen C2D2 Queen B. Thank you guys for all being here. Tell me where you're from real quick. We got, I love it. Just love to see Kansas, New Zealand. Thank you, David, got here. We've got Minnesota in the house. We've got Ashland, Illinois. Albuquerque, Edmonton, Alberta, Lewis from New Zealand as well. Cool. Indy and Richmond, Indiana. Kim, thank you for being on. And with the Trump train is going. Whoop, whoop. That's exactly right. All right. So let's get rolling here because we have new Q to drain as well as a bunch of SB2. So this, again, is part 2 of this series. And you'll see that Q actually posted a couple posts here, 3754 and 3755. And the first part, he is reposting an image back from a while ago. And then he amplifies on it, and then he gives us a tweet. And do you believe in coincidences? And we'll talk about that in just a second. But first, I want to get to the sponsor of this episode, which is Noble Gold again. Again, this is a great time at the end of the year to look at an IRA that'll save you on taxes as well as protect you with more safer investments that are gold and or silver based, precious metals based. And again, some companies are really struggling to keep their pensions, and finding your pension suddenly terminated isn't a great place to be, but that does give you some options. You can withdraw your funds and get taxed a lot. Or you can just roll over to your new employer, but the risks are high there. But you can also put the money into your own personal IRA account where it's your right to choose your own investment. With stock markets, property, and bonds looking rocky right now, precious metals, gold, and silver might be the way to go. Noble Gold are experts on precious metal IRAs. They kept thousands of families safe with their futures when their futures were pulled from under them. Again, call 877-646-5347. And again, there's going to be a link down below in the YouTube video as well. Again, secure your family's fortune and get a tax break with a precious metals IRA. And the link is down below. Make sure that you tell them that Blessed to Teach sent you. All right, let's get rolling here. On some of these actual Q posts, we're talking about 3754. He puts this, doesn't tell us exactly what number this was from, but I imagine this was from back in early 2019. We're talking about, imagine what would happen if by law every U.S. congressman, woman, U.S. senator, president, etc. was by U.S. law audited every 1 or 2 years by an independent agency. Imagine what would happen if those audits extended to all the family members of such elected official. Would Democrats continue to push for foreign aid to other countries versus the homeland? What happens when the kickbacks dry up? Maxine Waters, a $4 million house. Nancy Pelosi's net worth $150 million. Joe Biden's son, brother, net worth tens of millions. Clinton family, $200 million pre-election of Bill Clinton, less than $1 million in net worth. Obama family worth $40 million plus, pre-election less than $1 million, disguised under book deals. Those who are offered more powerful positions within the party, controlled, drain the swamp. Q. That's the old one, and he amplifies on it today with a tweet from Michael Clauderi. Here it is here, and it basically it talks about Obama gave Pearson Publishing a government contract worth $350 million for their work to create the Common Core text for his administration's education initiative. So $350 million. A subsidiary of that same publisher gave Obama roughly $65 million for his book deal after he left office. So everybody's saying, Q, send us all. Here's Just Informed Talk. And you got people, Jordan said, they're saying, Q sent me. Here's some other ones. My favorite one was Praying Medic, where it says, traitor, picture of Obama. And it says, when we're done, he'll claim Kenyan citizenship as a way to escape. Yes, I just love that. So that is exactly what is happening. And as Q is dropping these bombs about Obama's book deal, it says U.S. taxpayers to federal government Hussein to Pearson Publishing back to Hussein. Biden, follow the money. Corruption, Q. So again, this is the December 27th post here. We hadn't heard from him since the 23rd here. We are the news now, we heard, so now it's kind of cool to get some new Q posts. Here is Pearson Publishing CEO to retire. It's interesting. So the same publishing company, that means this guy probably got caught and maybe potentially already tried, but somehow all these resignations, he tells us to actually keep up with the resignation. So here's Hive. It's interesting. It actually has hashtag QAnon resignation. Pearson CEO to retire, and company will sell remaining Penguin Random. So the whole fact that there's another huge CEO retirement directly related to Obama is probably not a coincidence. And that's exactly what Mr. QAnon is telling us right here with, do you believe in coincidences, after he told us there are no coincidences. So that is it, the Q post. Let's get into this SB2 post. Now, so you can just search, if you want to find these, go to SB2 space Reddit, and you can type in the title, like Trump versus Colt 93, and you'll find the exact one. But it's if you want to just find SB2, all his posts, you go to SB2 Reddit, Reddit. I use him on Vote. If you're on Vote, this is the one I will be mainly going through, right? And you can see he just emails me these. And so this is a secret war here. We went through most of this last time. We stopped a little early. And so let's see if I can find exactly where we were. It was the image about Trump. See if I can find it real quick. Image 18. Yeah, that's about they were right. Trump is destroying the cult. That's where we left off last time. So we got through 17 of what's going to end up being, I think, 78 images. That's how big this thread is. So it might take 4 or 5 shows to get through this, but I'm going to go relatively quickly, not play all the videos, etc., so we can get through it at pretty quick time, because the summary of the actual findings are what's exciting here. Okay, so let's continue right here. It says Q1429, the truth has been in front of you the entire time. I'll give you a few examples of how Satanists worship this number and code it almost everywhere. Have you wondered what the arrow means in Amazon's logo? So image 18 shows the Amazon logo, and you can see right in between the A and the M, and it goes points right between the Z and the O. So Amazon is 70. But if you take the arrow connects the gaps between A and M and between Z and O, right there, A and M and Z and O. Well, A equals 1, M equals 13, the difference is 12. Z equals 26, and O equals 15, the difference is 11. You add those together, it's 23. So, well, guess what? You add 23 to 70. What do you get? 93. That's how they code it everywhere. Amazon illustrates the connection between the occult, the C_A, and the fake news. Who owns the Washington Post? Amazon. What ABC agency is heavily tied to Amazon? So that's Q1806 that talks about that. Obviously, Bezos from Amazon bought the Washington Post, and he gave all these contracts to the CIO. And I think even IBM was suing because they pretty much gave all these contracts to CIA, even though IBM was much better, well positioned at that time. And so there was interesting things going on. Have you ever wondered why the Pope and Tony Podesta's red shoes were red? Come on, Chef, for red shoes. They've been mocking you all this time. So image 19 actually shows Podesta's red shoes and all his little friends here. The Pope's red shoes. Red shoes equals 93. Coincidence? You can see here, here's him doing the horn signs, the Satan's horn signs. Everybody's doing the Satan's horn sign as well. Metal Pope. Pope Francis flashes similar hand signals in the Philippines. All showing 666, the Y, that Satan's horn slash Y. I can do that, I think, because I went to the University of Texas, and that was our sign. I'm going to try to do it a lot less now, though. I do it far less. But that sign is, for some people, it's just a school symbol. For me, it is, but for others, it is literally the sign of Satan's horns and the Colt 93. Did you watch the show Scandal? Are you familiar with the occult entity called B613 running the U.S. government from the shadow? Watch this video. I think it's a pretty short one, so we'll watch this 41 seconds.
Liv! What happened to you? You missed the parties. I was there. We must have just missed each other. Here, sign these. What is this? A thank you card to the chief usher and his staff for moving you into the White House today. Also, your first executive order. Reserves a percentage of Pentagon funds in a blind emergency trust. It's basically lunch money for defense while we're waiting for Congress to approve your budget.
Done. We leave now. Grab yourself a drink. Join us.
I would love to, but apparently this woman's work is never done. Is it done?
It's done. B613?
Fully funded. It's time to turn the lights back on.
So there's B613 on this show. You just saw that, right? Did you notice how she Pelosi-sized the EO? And just like Pelosi saying, hey, we got to sign Obamacare to know what's in it. She signed it without knowing what was in it. This is the type of government officials Satan has his buddies love to work with. The government officials and his buddies love to work with, right? Now discover what they've been hiding in the show in plain sight. So you'll see here, this is image 20, gets into them doing the horns signal, and you see that the Pope is wearing all white, so she's wearing all white. Coincidence? And coincidence, her name is the Olivia Pope, and she's in all white. Olivia Pope is 120, 90 plus 30, which can be 93. Coincidence? And you take B613, you take the 2613 out of that because the B is the second letter of the alphabet, and you add those up, it can be 93. Coincidence? So 4 different ways to get to 93. And here's a decoded message here. Q142. Why did Hollywood glorify Titanic as a tragic love story? Answer. Because Hollywood uses ancient mind control techniques to get the masses to unknowingly grant approval to their crimes against mankind before they are committed and accept them after they are. Now, for those of you who have not been following along very closely, we did a whole thing on the Titanic, and it showed that the Federal Reserve was established after that, after they literally killed off a whole crew of very influential bankers who were against the Federal Reserve, all on the Titanic, happened to pass away. Even though they were wealthy and should have been able to get on the boats that were there, they were trapped or something, or some way were sacrificed. Q128. What is the spell? Who is asleep? Dissemination, attention on deck. There is an active war on your mind. Scandal is about running the U.S. government through occult forces and conspiracy, and at no point the people is considered to be relevant. You are sold this reality with music, fashion statements, and the usual Hollywood glitter to give you consent to the serpent in Rome. Challenge: can you find the connections between James Bond 007 and Colt 93? I'll give you a few hints. Pronounce it double O. Get to know the Ian family, and remember, a house may have many doors. So you can see here's James Bond. You got Pierce Bronson praises Trump, and retweeted by POTUS. And Ian Fleming, there you go. James Bond 007 collection. Can you solve? So I haven't had time to go dig into that, guys. If you have the solving how 007 JB007, you'll see on here all adds up to 93. I'm sure it does. I just haven't done the mental exercise yet. Of course, you already gathered the witch is a prominent member of Colt 93. It's coded all over her book cover, and this is image 22. That's disappointing. So image 22 is off. So I'm going to show you how to do this. You go to Reddit, Reddit SB2, and you can type in like Trump versus Colt and hit enter. You can tell I put Trump versus Colt in quotes, and it brought my video up. That's pretty cool. My 2 videos up as the first thing. That's pretty interesting. Of course, that's DuckDuckGo, not Google. I guarantee you Google would not do that. Well, let's go test it. Okay, you just saw Reddit SB2, Trump versus Colt. The first 2 things that come up are my videos. Okay, if I go to Google, that's in google.com, and I type in the exact same thing, which would be Reddit SB2, and I type in parentheses Trump. Maybe Google will actually do it. Maybe they haven't filtered this out yet. We'll see. Versus Colt. Obviously, Reddit. Obviously, we just got confirmed that brings up my. Nope. It brings up the Reddit things first. But my video is gone. All right. That's YouTube / it looks like it's down here. So it's basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's the 9th thing versus the first things right here on DuckDuckGo. That's why I say use DuckDuckGo, guys. They're trying to keep you from the truth at Google. Let's see. Here we are. Part 2. Here it is. So this, you can see this is YouTube. That's my stuff too. So I'm the first 1, 2, 3, 4 results. Here is the Reddit Serial Brain 2. And you'll see right here, if you go here to this, you will see posted by Serial Brain 1 day ago, and this was the truth about 9/11. This is part 3, so I actually have to go back to Serial Brain 2. You'll see here and find part 1, and this will go to all the newest stuff. There's part 4. Come on, puppy, get me back all the way to the overview of this, and we're gonna go grab part. And this I guess is giving me all the comments. So here we go. Here's part 1, which we're going over right now. And now I'm just kind of showing you guys how you can get around and go look at some of this stuff yourself. Hopefully this will help you too. Now the image that was taken down was image 22. So I go to my backup copy here that we just found, and I go all the way down to image 22, and I bet you we will find it. This is about Hillary. Interesting that the one about Hillary was the one that was taken down. Okay, there's image 14, image 22. Here we are. There it is. All right, they can try to fool us, but we got backups. What happened? Hillary Rodham Clinton. Colt 93, the witch 93, 39. Look at this, 23 to 8, 93, 9, 3, 8, 18, 3. So basically, you can take how do you get to 93 and all these? You take the what happened, WH, which is 23 plus 8, and the H of the HRC gets you to 39, and then the RC to end it is 18 and 13, which is 93 by itself. You turn 93 around, it's 93. That's how you get it. What happened? Here's the decode. What Do you think HRC needs to sell books with the billions of dollars she collected by selling our uranium or special access program material and other state secrets through her private server? Do you think she needs to explain herself to the sheeple when she never thought she would lose, and that she believes power does not come from the people but from the cabal she serves? Her book, published after she lost the 2016 election, was neither written for money nor to explain anything. It was a rallying cry to the ongoing cult administration, to the sleeper cells, and to the resistance. Let's all resist Trump and refuse to transfer power. Let's fight for our cult and for our survival. Q10. These people worship Satan. Some people openly show it. So that is the, how we just saw it in Reddit. Now I'm going back to the vote to see if image 23 is working. It's working. Here's how Comey also codes 93 on his book cover, and an invitation to hunt for his family Y tweets. So you can see here, maybe it should be the first meeting of the secret society, Lisa Page's tweet said. Remember that? And you see Comey's A Higher Loyalty, Truth, Lies, and Leadership, James Comey. So you can see if the first letter of each area, you take those, you're going to get A is 1, H is 8, L is 12, and you can see that all those early ones add up to 93. There's also another one where you can take the rest of the numbers and get to 45 and that 12, and you get to 93 as well. And this points to a couple of drops of Q's, 35.99 and 25.10, that says A Higher Loyalty Y. Family Proud. Comey with a Y. Timestamp and attorney challenge to subpoena. So that, the coded message is Comey, the ultimate Satanist. He codes 93 in the title of his book, and he loves to talk about the family Y tree. Can you spot this in his tweets? Happy hunting. Q reveals in Q35.99 and Q25.10 that Comey's higher loyalty is not to God or to the United States. It's to family Y. Now we know what secret society Lisa Page was talking about in her text message. Q3. Many in our government worship Satan. The secret societies are almost took control of this world completely with the help of Satan. Now we go to image 24. It talks about here are Comey's family Y tweets, and Q showing him the delights of doing plane geometry with clock hands. And so we just saw this, but now we're adding this clock, and you'll see because it crucifies 93 worshipers. So the whole question is that we said here you'll see 35.99 says 6 o'clock can be dangerous. Family Proud, and talking about family Y and all these tweets that he had here. If you look at the timestamps and the delta between it, you're going to be able to get a code between all that equals 93 again. But 93, 6 o'clock can be dangerous, Q says. And that is basically it crucifies the 93, crossing right between it in that clock. Isn't that cool? So the decoded message is this. Comey, with the Y in brackets, is a loyal family Y soldier. He's part of the family. He's somewhere on the Y25 tree. He's a devoted 93 worshiper, the ultimate Satanist. When he writes a book, he codes 93 all over it. When he has questions and looks for answers, he praises his family tree with carefully chosen pictures, codes, and his full name standing next to the Y in the timestamp delta, and finishes off his praising song with 93 coded in the second timestamp. Well, all this is pretty interesting, James, but Q reminds you 6 o'clock can be dangerous. The reason is that it crucifies 93 worshipers. Did you know that to execute their normalization strategy, they released a book teaching children how to conjure demons? Look how 93 is coded on the cover. Literally, this is a children's book of demons by Aaron Layton. And crazy stuff, guys. But you'll see a children's book of demons is 227 Gematria. You take the author's name, and it's 139. Where is 93? Do you see it? A children's book of demons is the title. Is 227, and he's basically showing the AA, the double A there. If you take that up, you can actually take that 220 to 228, and you can take the A off and put it there. It equals 138, and that's how you would get to a 93 and a 93 twice. Again, coded right in these vicious books. The example was a soft way Colt 93 targets our children. Here is the hard one. We've seen some of this. Those who know cannot sleep. And these are these men in bunny costumes with a bunny rabbit. Past drops important to frame context. These people need to all be eliminated. Those who know cannot sleep. And we got all these different drops here all pointing to the Alice in Wonderland crumbs and everything that's going on with crimes against children. And you can take some of the gematria out of this, and you'll see all equals 25, eliminated equals 92. You take all this down, you get to Y and 93 again. Decoded message Q, coded Y and 93 in Q 2051, where he can follow Alice's bloody crimes perpetuated against children as she is traveling in Wonderland. The picture provided are explicit enough to inform us about the horrific things done by Family Y and Colt 93 to children. Those who know cannot sleep. Q. These people deserve to, and it's in kill brackets. These people are sick. We are the cure. Did you notice that Don Jr.'s book Triggered is 93? I have this book, by the way, right here. Let me show you. So I'm in the middle of reading this. Boop! There it is. Triggered. You can see Donald Trump. So I'm about, I know, eighth of the way through this or so. But it's really interesting book. But Triggered itself. Coincidence, he epically revealed two important components of a Colt 93 when the View made the fortunate mistake of inviting him. Enjoy. So here he is, and they tried to attack him. And so once they attacked him, he let everybody, the world, know two things. First, he said, Joy, you've worn blackface. Now, she here's a picture of her right there, dressed up as an African American. And she denied it, but we have pictures. So you racism, hypocrisy, fake. He also said, Whippy, you said about Roman Polanski it wasn't rape. And we have actually a video of doing that. He also mentioned that she was talking about impeachment like the day after Trump took office, right? And she denied that, and she was lying again. But here is the decoded message. Don Jr. shut down The View. He was invited to talk about his book, Triggered, equals 93. And boy, he delivered. The host team was organized to prevent him from talking about with two specific examples. He summarized what his book and Colt 93 are all about. He delivered the very important message that the media and the fake news have been hypocritically colluding to cover up and normalize the multiple crimes of Colt 93, ranging from racism to pedophilia and violent crimes against our children. Polanski pleaded guilty to having sex with a 13-year-old girl and fled the country before he was sentenced. After this episode, as if nothing happened, he has continued to make movies and even won an Academy Award. Whoopi claims it wasn't rape. Well, follow the maestro's advice and read the transcripts of Samantha Gamir's testimony. You will be shocked. Welcome to Colt 93 and its complicit fake news. And you also see that Meryl Streep was giving him a standing ovation. A bunch of people were giving him a standing ovation, and that's why, I think Gene on some other shows has talked about the witches of Oprah and Meryl Streep, etc. And Tiffany McHenry, I think it is Tiffany. I have to look back at what, but she you can follow her on Twitter. She has also a great website, is exposing all this stuff. SB2 says, puzzle coming together? Click here for part 2. Wow. You can see how long this took and why I was up till 2 a.m. getting through all these. That there was just going through part 1 and part 2. So let's go through part 2. This time it took me to Reddit. I'm just gonna roll with it here right now. We'll bring up it brings up a new window here, but that's fine. So we're at image 28 out of the image 78 for this 4-part series. So we'll see how far we can get here. We are running right now at 29 minutes, so we have another half hour. We will knock out as much as we can get to before we close with some scripture and some prayer. It's hot in my room. I'm gonna turn on the fan real quick for this last half hour. I need to find a way to cool this office a lot better without noise, because it's very sensitive. And now it's got so hot in here that my little PC is now boop. The little Mac is overheating and making noise anyway. So you guys have to let me know what you like the best of the 2 ways I can cool my room right now. It's hot and my PC's fan goes off, or the fan above my head. See which one bugs you the most. I'm going to try to find an external fan that'll be a better solution for this. We'll see. All right, here we go. Trump versus Colt 93, the secret war that Trump is winning. Part 2, know the Colt. So this is basically getting more details of Colt 93. It's tentacles everywhere. And I'm going to blow up the text size on this for you guys. Come on, puppy. There we go. So that should be much better for you guys to read. Colt 93 spread its tentacles everywhere. Most of the people you see on TV are part of the cult. They own the fake news. They own Hollywood. They own the swamp. Here's how they gained all the power they've been using the C_A Hugh Hefner model. So this is image 28. And this is right here. And Anon said, you guys are missing the importance of Hugh Hefner, the Hugh Hefner model. 3 explanation points here you can see. Then it points to Rachel Chandler is key in Q3155. You see there's a pictures where she posted the Epstein cameras from below. Q3134, who is Rachel Chandler? Q1054, look up Ray Chandler. None are safe. And R and C in Ray Chandler is R equals 18. You add those 8 and 1 together, you get 9. C is 3, 93. You got pictures of Ray Chandler and Bill Clinton. You got the Vatican wearing red shoes. You've got Bill Clinton and Tony Podesta here near Epstein Island, it looks like, the powerful. You've got royalty, a picture of Andrew and Ray Chandler. I think that is Ray Chandler and Eminem, Hollywood. You've got arts and entertainment, all these different people, all controlled. The decode is this, Q1054. Who is Ray Chandler? And look at it as Ray Chandler. Answer, any asset sent by 93 to persons of interest in order to create the conditions that will allow the collection of compromising material. This is how 93 has taken control of the Vatican, royalty, politicians, governments, the media, the entertainment industry, and any entity where there is significant wealth and or power. The game is simple. 93 first gets the compromising material on you, then you get what you want. Global power through blackmail. That is how they're doing it, guys, right there. This is a cult the maestro is taking down. This is the reason 93 is coded in the transcript. So image 29 actually talks about unclassified. And if you look at all the numbers that Trump put in his coded transcript, this is the Zelensky call. There's 2 of them, right? The Zelensky calls, number 1 and 2. He coded a ton of stuff in these. This is really interesting. So they found out about their plan in the skiff that Obama was planning with Pelosi, with Schiff, with Nadler, and they, to take him down on the whistleblower. So Trump purposely coded his calls knowing that was going to happen to give us all these messages. And he actually, if you look at July 25th, 2019, 9:03 to 9:33, you take those, you can code that right down to 93. The second call, April 21st, 2019, 4:29 to 4:45, you can actually code that down to 93 as well. Now, you'll see how many Y's are in Vladimir Zelensky's name. And the reason they make fun of that is because later you'll see Trump added Y. It'll be interesting to see. Decoded message. The number 93, I'm going to blow this up larger for you. The number 93 is coded in both transcripts through their timestamps. The official White House spelling of the Ukrainian president comes with an extra Y that the C_A fake news did not fail to catch and comment through an article published by Quartz. They know it refers to their master's family Y. So you can see they actually have an extra Y here in the official transcript. And then later you'll see Trump actually misspell Zelensky for another reason. But there you go in the Quartz article about the extra Y, pointing to family Y. We're taking you down, family Y is what their message is. Now, I'm going to close these so that it doesn't get so big. Well, no, I'll keep them open. Help me later. Do you know, and so now I'm going to continue the SB2 on image 30. It says, do you now see where the Ukraine hysteria really comes from? Ukraine was a Colt 93 bastion, and many bodies are buried there. We went through the 2 transcripts in my previous articles and the video President Zelensky shared with POTUS. Look how the Mockingbird media is panicking and secretly communicating about it through the Quartz article, image 30. So that's so interesting. So if you go back to previous article where he went through that, it talks about Zelensky actually downloading and giving to Trump incriminating videos of this, cabal and some of the ugly things they're doing against children. Here is Colt 93 has a Zelensky problem. And if you look at how many Y's are under Zelensky, you can see how do you solve a problem like Vladimir, right? And here's their capital letters you're going to see here. Vertical line capital letters from this article. So this Quartz article was actually coded. So you take all these capital letters, you're going to get 81 set up. So basically they know that Trump set them up. Vertical line capital letters, you'll see adds up to 173, Miss Universe. And then you see it's already happened. And this you can decode 93 out of that. And then if you look at also HV and baby here, you'll see 30. So that is basically the decoded messages. Using Quartz, the C_A fake news sends a message in plain sight to their network. Vladimir is a problem. He's working with Trump and they are targeting the 93 network. It's a setup. There is another transcript they have already spoken in previous phone call where Trump mentioned Miss Universe. They talked about the babies, the crimes against children, and the trafficking. Many are targeted. It goes all the way to HRC. Signed 93. Woo! That is a decoded message all from a fake news article from Quartz. This is how since we took out their satellites, all the coronas, right? We took out all their supercomputers. That was all the Snow White, etc., right? So quite exciting. If you think about what is going on right now, it's like, woo! That was image 30. As you can see, the information shared makes this Quartz article extremely toxic. Whoever is connected to it has serious, serious, serious problems. The impeachment hoax was Colt 93 trying to gain a position of leverage and obtain to negotiate with the maestro. Remember, that's the real quid pro quo they are looking for. When I was a kid, I had a friend who used to communicate like that. He would show up around lunchtime with his hunger, and seeing that we were watching TV, he'd ask, how long have you been watching TV since you had lunch? The maestro knew exactly what they were trying to achieve, and this is why, to respond to their list of swamp witnesses, he had a secret timeline running in parallel for us to triangulate what each witness was all about. Using the witnesses as examples, the maestro gave us a tour of the swamp. Look and try to confirm the connections through the maestro's comms and the testimonies. So here's image 31. You're going to see on November 13th, POTUS holds a blot and press conference with reception Tayyip Erdogan from Turkey. So basically, the leader of Turkey, he has at the same time that Kent and Ambassador Taylor were doing it at the exact same time. Why? Because he was pointing to the 93 Brotherhood, Muslim Brotherhood. Mainly, this, as you know, the guy in Turkey here is pretty much trying to bring back the whole Reformation, or whatever they call that for the Muslims. So that was a message that, yep, you guys are all part of the 93 Muslim Brotherhood. On November 15th, we had Ambassador Yovanovitch come in, and what did he do? POTUS addressed the Healthcare Pricing Transparency Act that same exact day, showing that she was the blood collector. Wow, crazy stuff. November 19th, we saw Vidman and Williams coming in, and POTUS holds a cabinet meeting, and basically was showing that they are incompetent. Then you had on November 20th, Ambassador Solond came on, and POTUS tours an Apple plant in Austin, Texas, showing that Sondland was the plant. Then you see on November 21st, you had Fiona Hill and David Holmes. POTUS presents the National Medal of Arts and Humanities. He was showing that these were the actors. David Holmes and Fiona Hill were the actors. Woo! Pretty cool stuff there. That was image 31. For example, to illustrate the November 21st, 2019 actors, watch Ratcliffe mercifully demonstrate how painful it is for an actor to forget his script. And this is pretty good. I don't have time to show it, but
with that,
I'll show the first part of it.
Mr. Holmes, I want to turn to you and the part of the conversation, your testimony where you said you heard President Trump say, is he going to do the investigation? And Ambassador Sondland said he's going to do it. He'll do anything you ask him to. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
What did President Trump say next?
Look how he's having to look at his text.
He said, good, what about Sweden?
He said what?
Sir, sorry, I need to look at back where we are in the middle of the conversation here.
So he's had to look. So he basically had to do that multiple times during this conversation. If you go watch the rest of the video, and basically Nunes did a great job. And right when the time was up, I'll tell you, Shifty Schiff's taking it out of his hands as soon as possible because he knew he got David Holmes looking back at the scripts. And that he really didn't experience it because every time he tried to ask him something, he clearly showed that he really didn't know it. He forgot his script. Do you see how Holmes dived into his documents and how he needed his memory refreshed about the most significant event of his career? Thank you, Ratcliffe. Let's now focus on November 20th, 2019, when the maestro toured the Apple plant in Austin. Do you remember what he said about Apple? Watch until 1926. And so here's a video. I'm just going to play part of it, and we'll kind of come back to.
Well, I think how many bites of the apple do you get?
How many bites of the apple do you get? You can see right there. And he goes on to talk about it. He's got Acosta right next to him, the guy that's going to have to resign. Who's standing next to the maestro? Yes, Secretary Acosta. This is the day his resignation was announced and Epstein is pulled into the conversation. In other words, by visiting the Apple plant the day Sondland was testifying for Shifty before exploding in his hands, the maestro was saying to Colt 93, all these shenanigans is about covering your crimes against the children. I've got Epstein and I'm not negotiating with you. Get ready, I'm coming for you. How do I know? Delta between Acosta's resignation and the Apple tour, 132. This is the value for unforgivable, which is confirmed by the Apple and the original sin. So later he actually talks about the original sin in that YouTube video. Let's continue it a little bit.
We've gone through 500 witnesses, 2,500 subpoenas. I've let them interview my lawyers. I've let them because I had nothing to do with Russia. Now that's come out. There was no collusion. But how many people and how many times, and this has been going on for 2.5 years. Rush Limbaugh said there's nobody else in the world that he knows that could have taken it. And on top of taking it, I've been a great president. I've done more, listen, I've done more in 2.5 years than any other president. Nobody's even close, including, we just said, Veterans Choice and all of the other things they've got. But for 2.5 years, so now they have Mueller go make a speech. That goes. Now they want to have him again. They want to go it again and again and again because they want to hurt the president for the election. Because I see what I'm running against. You got sleepy Joe Biden. He doesn't have the energy to be president. And the people that are nipping on his heels, they don't have what it takes. And I can tell you that China and Russia, and I've been rougher on Russia than any president in the last 50 years. China and Russia and try North Korea, where I have a relationship.
All right, I went a little too far in that, of where SB2 wanted us to go. So I thought he said something about the original sin, but he talked about, obviously, Apple. We know about the original sin, and the first bite of the apple is what I think the whole point of what he was trying to get there. But good stuff by SB2 nailing that. Close that. Get that out of the way. Oh, darn it. Have to get back to that here. Here we are on dark to light. Now that just jumped on me to put that big, so let me just go back to this real quick. Colt 93 Secret War winning dark to light. That is going to be a later one, so I need to go back to number 2. Sorry about that. We went through image. Okay, the video is where we were. So it'll take me just a second to get back to Serial Brain 2's Know the Colt number 2. Part 4. You can see that's part 4. Now we're going to jump and we're going to see part 1. So it's easy to go to part 1 and go to the bottom, and the very bottom it'll link you to part 2 and vice versa when you get to the other ones to part 3 and 4. That's how you'll be able to get to all 4 of these if you'd like to do that. So we watched through image 31. We'll watch that. Did you see how Holmes divided into the document and how he needed his memory? And so we just watched this about the apple, and we know that right now unforgivable, which is confirmed by the apple and the original sin. So Q3109, shall we play a game? Q, I'll give you 5 connections connecting 6 items. Can you find the 6th one to close the circle? Hint, analyze the tweets posted the day the maestro visited the apple plant. Here are the 5 connections. And this talks about the challenge of he gives us 5 of them, and he's asking us to get the 6th. So you can see the first one here is when he put his head on the Rocky 3 picture. Second, he is Epstein. Third, we see Acosta resigning, right, when he's talking about how many bites of apple do you get. And again, the day delta is 132 between that and when he went to the plant. And Unforgivable is 132 as well. And then you see Sondland here on November 20th. And you see here's where Holmes is describing his ear superpowers. It's kind of funny. He's talking about he supposedly overheard some of Trump's conversation with Sondland on the phone. And then sometimes he couldn't hear Trump and sometimes he could. So he was obviously making it up and was an actor. That's what they were talking about. So can you connect 1 to 6 is what he's asking us. And we'll get to that here in just a second. Make sure. It's jumping on me, guys. So click here for part 2. It's where I already was. So I know the Colt is where we are. All right, so let's get back to this. This is trying to use Reddit is going to take me a little practice, but we're here now. Now we listened to that until 38. Now it says, did you solve the insistence on the tie? And so, I see what it's doing. It's rolling when I roll. So now I know how to get rid of that. That's good. This is the 5 connections. We just looked at the image. So did you find it? I'll give you another hint until 4:56. So now this is another video, YouTube video on Trump. Oh no, this is when Holyfield bit his eye. Mike Tyson actually bites Evander Holyfield's ear, like cannibalism type thing, right? That is the crazy thing about this. So now when I go back to the no this time, hopefully we'll be, man, they changed that again. Every time I come off of it, it actually flips off of where it was. we're going to get this one down. There it is. It's going to work real well once I get this down. So this is Know the Cure. Know the Cult. So that was the bite of the ear. Yes, this is what the maestro was referring to when he tweeted, if this were a prize fight, they'd stop it. You triangulate with how many bites of the apple, Holmes and his bionic ear, and bingo, Tyson Holyfield. This is the image 33 showing Tyson and Holyfield put 1 to 6 together. So just like he put himself on Rocky III's body right here. And then you see the solution, if they were a prize fight, they'd stop it, as Tyson actually bites a piece of the ear off. You can probably see that. It's pretty crazy if you look at that back then. He literally bit a piece of his ear off right there. That is crazy stuff that happened there. And I think he bit him a second time and ended up getting disqualified. He lost 2 points the first time and then ended up getting disqualified. But that pulls everything together there between those, and it's like, whoa. Now let me get back to the no, see if I can find this time. I'm not good at this because it opens up a whole new window every time. I'm going to have to close them all, it looks like, to be able to make this efficient. And now it changed to spot the new. Here it is. So we are on, jump back to all the way to part 1 again. And then we're going down here. You can tell I'm good at doing this on Vote, but not on Reddit. And might have to go back to Vote here. You'll find it. So that was the 5 connections we just talked about. We talked about Holyfield and bingo. We just saw that image 33. Now here's image 34. And it's going to jump all the way out of here. So I'm going to close all these windows so I don't have to do that each time, guys. So here we are. Image 34 this time. Ha ha ha. What is the maestro telling us about pulling Tyson in the riddle? Bavarian coffee. For those who noticed Tyson 93. Coincidence? Haha. Here's the message. And there you see, Acosta resigns the apple. You look at the bite of the apple, goes to the Holy Bible, talking about the original sin. Delta is 132, Unforgivables 132, and then that brings us to Revelation 12:9. So here's SB2 bringing some biblical text in. I love it when he does this. Revelation 12:9, the great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. He was hurled to the earth, and his angels with him. And that was Revelation 12:9, and if you take 9 and 2 plus 1, you get 93. Whoa. Colt 93. Tyson equals 93 as well. Whoa, look at that. And then you can all look at Revelation 12:5 as well. It says, the dragon stood in front of the woman who was about to give birth, so that it might devour her child the moment it was born. Decoded message. By noticing Tyson equals 93, we established a connection between Tyson biting Holyfield's ear, Colt 93, and Revelation 12:5, where the Bible informs us that the dragon stood in front of the woman to devour her child at the moment of birth. We deduce from this that Family Y and Colt 93 members have inherited cannibalism and the satanic blood lines they perpetuate. The dragon stood in front of the woman who was about to give birth. The Bible announces what we are currently witnessing, and that was described by POTUS. POTUS said, the Democrats are aggressively pushing late-term abortion, allowing children to be ripped from their mother's wombs right up until the moment of birth. The baby is born, and you wrap up the baby beautifully, and you talk to the mother about the possible execution of the baby. Woo! That's exactly right. Now if I close this, it'll make me right on. There we go. We got it figured out. Do you see where this doctored picture is taking us and how powerful it is? What is the maestro telling us about the Tyson riddle? Now question, what's the maestro's secret to look that way in the picture? Yes, he's regularly taking a physical to make sure everything is fine. Value for physical, 93. Time to investigate and figure this out. Let's watch the maestro talk about the physical. So this is a full rally where he's talking about his physical. It's like a 4-minute clip, so I'm not going to play it all.
But I like telling these, stories that happened a little while ago. They don't have to put them in speeches and you read stuff and people fall asleep. But on Saturday, you saw what happened.
And Saturday's when he went and got a physical. And some people think he was poisoned, which I think Gene is telling me that his information and sources are telling him that the tasters of both Melania and he did get sick. One of them actually died, and so they tried to poison Trump supposedly, but he's playing that off. So that's not the important point about this. What the point is that he's talking about the physical, which is 93 in Gematria. Did you solve the insistence on the tie? He talks a lot about, because they said he wasn't, he says, I didn't wear a tie. And they said, that must mean he's having a heart attack. When the maestro mentioned the tie, in addition to the doctored picture, and the doctored picture is obviously talking about the doctored picture of the Rocky, where he put his face on Rocky, the doctored picture. I was going to make sure that I didn't skip an image here. Nope, I didn't. Perfect. We're right on then. And this doctored picture again was him putting. That was the wording that Trump used, and this tweet he had in there. And if you tie that to the physical, the C_fake news went crazy. Look how the fake news, Washington Post, fakes Serenity in their tweet, but insists on the tie by quoting the maestro verbatim in the linked article. So here's the tweet. It actually says, Washington Post here, Trump tweets doctored photo of his head on Sylvester Stallone's body. Unclear why. Well, we know why, because he's given us and here's the Washington Post article, but we know he is giving us code for exactly what to do. Hey, this is working well if I just close that each time. Here we go. As you can see, the Washington Post got triggered. Total panic. Enjoy. Here's image 35. You can see triggered. The Washington Post took the bait. Trump tweets doctored photo of his head on Sylvester Stallone's body. So you see the TS there. And then you see the article actually has some quotes here that he's going to be pointing to. Some of the quotes that that SB2 highlighted here is not only the P and the T for the capital letters, right? And then may be a nod to remarks Trump made about his physique during the rally Tuesday in Florida. Talking about his beautiful chest he talked about when he was in the rally. Walter Reed National Military Medical Center in Bethesda, Maryland on November 16th. He also talking about his tie and then we're there 20 minutes. I take it off for the physical, but they said I wasn't wearing a tie. So that's why they were trying to say he had a heart attack, because he wasn't wearing a tie. But you take all that information, and what's the Washington Post doing? They're pointing to 93 again. Physical 93, triggered 93. The Decode message is this: by releasing the doctored picture with code 93, the maestro triggered their network. Do you see now what Don Jr. book's title really means? The C_A decoders at the Washington Post know very well that the maestro is talking about and hit the right keywords from his speech in his latest rally in Sunrise, Florida. They caught the reference to Walter Reed was connected to 93 through physical equals 93 and through the capital letters with the November 16th date. They sent a message to the network by coding 93 in the vertical capital letter count. Guys, we have a problem. POTUS is working on Colt 93, and he mentioned the tie from Florida. What is the tie about? Can you solve? Now I'll close that, and there we are. Perfect. So you want to know about the tie? The maestro gave you the hint right here when he asked for Colonel Vindman's congressional testimony. And here he is talking about that. I'm going to jump ahead here because he just talks about Vindman's testimony there, and SB2 is going to tell us about right here. Did you catch it? He first called Vindman's Vinderman and later seamlessly corrected it. Comms territory. Here's the solution. So image 36 actually shows us he's talking about the tie of George Kent, who's wearing this bow tie, wonderful bow tie. That equals 192. That coated quartz article, you take it, that was all 192s. Obviously, 192 can be coded 93 because you take the 2 and the 1 and add them together. And then you see the 93 days that Q went dark. Remember that? He actually coded that in a Comey drop. And right here we see that that's 93 days that he went dark when 8 Chan was down and before 8 Kun came up. He knew it was going to be 93 days. But if you look at Vinder Mun, that's 100. Rigged for red. So he's basically linking back to the Q post. Vindman the fraud. Vindman goes to work dressed as a civilian. You can see he's always wearing just a coat and a tie and not his military uniform. Here he is 3 different times in a coat and tie. Reviews his transcript in Capitol Hill dressed as a civilian. Vindman goes to work dressed as a civilian. Meets foreign leaders dressed as a civilian. And he testifies against POTUS in military uniform. The decoded message is this. Kent shows up in Congress with the bow tie he wears in his official SD headshot. He's sending the signal to the C_A network that he's controlled by his hierarchy and can't deliver his part of the script. By mentioning his bow tie, the maestro connects him to the extremely toxic Quartz article and to the 93 network. The maestro calls Vinderman to connect him to Rig for Red in Q3574, which is posted the day Q returns after going dark for 93 days. Vindman was a 93 submarine planted in the White House. The 93 network challenged POTUS to a submarine battle that they lost at the very beginning when their skiff submarine, piloted by Hussein, was detected by Vindman, by Kent. You gotta love that. So it's like we're winning everywhere, guys, and we've already exceeded our hour. Crazy how fast that goes and how much we have to cover. So we got to image 36 again. I think there are 78 in this still. So we're almost halfway through that. So now we're going to talk more about Colt 93 through the rest of this, and we will do part. Actually, it's going to be part 2B, and probably get to part 3 tomorrow. So exciting stuff, guys. I'm going to just wrap up real quick with a scripture. I think it's important to actually look at this scripture. I'm going to actually spend some time getting on these prophecies and getting them into the backstage where you guys can search on Searchy, that tool that gives you the exact minute of second of any phrase or word that's said. So you guys can search Mark Taylor's word for word findings and find me reading them at that point in time, as well as some of my favorites from Kim Clement. Kim Clement has a lot, so I can't do all of them, but allow you guys to search them for backstage. I think you guys will really enjoy that. Let me find a scripture that I think might make sense to talk about here real quick as we wrap this up today. Thank you guys so much for joining me on part 2 or part 2A on this very significant drops from Mr. SB2. I'm just going to do this one right here. 1 Corinthians 1:18. For the message of the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing, but to those who are being saved, it is the power of God. So just think about that, guys. The message of the cross is the key. It's the free gift. It's the culmination of the substitutional power of Christ's death on the cross for us, so that when you are asking to go into heaven, being judged, they see the perfect life of Christ versus your life. Now, that message of the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing. But to those that are being saved and understand it, it is the power of God. So don't be fooled to thinking that the message of the cross is foolishness. That's why Satan attacks the cross every time. You look at the Christian cults, they all attack the cross. Either saying he didn't die on a cross, or you shouldn't be glorifying the cross. The cross is the symbol of the substitutional power. All Christian cults attack it, and so do all religions that don't believe it. They'll attack the Trinity, the divine nature of God, because only God can be a substitutional power for you, right? That's why we know Jesus is God. He claimed he was by saying, before Abraham I am. He claimed it by accepting worship. Jesus claimed to be divine by forgiving sins. And that's how this works. So this message of the cross, that's why we preach Christ crucified. No matter what you do, just understand your story. It's what 1 Peter 3:15 talks about, right? Is to just always be ready to give an answer for the hope that you have, but do it with gentleness and respect. Let's close in some prayer. And Father, thank you so much for 1 Corinthians 1:18 and all the rest of your scripture. We'll learn some in Revelation from SB2 today about pointing to this evil satanic cult. Thank you for exposing it and allowing us to eliminate it, Lord. Thank you for your power. Let us join you in this movement of the Great Awakening. Join you in the movement of understanding where maybe billions of souls will come to you in this final harvest, Lord. May we be part of that. Lord, thank you that the message of the cross is there for us that are being saved. We pray for those who think it's foolishness, that they don't perish, Lord. They'll come to understand exactly what this free gift is all about. It's 100% Jesus and 0% us. Let's accept that free gift, Lord. We love you, and we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Hey, guys, thank you so much. I'm going to try to go to the Star Trek movie, I think, with the wife. We don't do much Hollywood movies, but I think the Cabal's actually telling us some things with some of these movies, and so I'm trying to check that out. Again, this is exciting times. Sorry for the length of these videos. It's hard to get through Q+, plus these lengthy, awesome drops from SB2, or these decodes from SB2. This is Trump versus the Cult 93. This was part 2A. We'll go over 2B and part of 3 probably tomorrow. I might try to get through all of it by the end of the weekend at least, so we can get through and move on to other things. God bless you guys, and can't wait to see you tomorrow. God bless.